Hello and welcome. I am JP Miller of the Empire Report, and we are thrilled to host this forum on utilities benefits matching, mechanisms for automatically matching low-income New Yorkers to energy discounts. This is an issue important to all New Yorkers, and especially New Yorkers 50 and over. We have the two co-sponsors of the bill at the state level to do just that. Senator Kevin Parker, chair of the Energy and Telecommunications Committee, and Assemblymember Michael Solage, chair of the Black, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, and Asian Legislative Caucus. We also have Lori Wheelock of the Public Utilities Law Project. I want to thank AARP New York for sponsoring this forum, and especially thank you to Fox 5's Morgan McKay for moderating this important discussion. Here to open our discussion is AARP New York State Director Beth Finkel. Beth, take it away.
Thanks, JP. And thank you to the Empire Report for hosting this event on a very important topic that we here at AARP New York believe will be a wave of the future in government, using technology to help people access the benefits that they qualify for. Thank you to all of our participants. And of course, thank you to all of you for watching today. The pandemic has taken its toll on all of us economically, especially for low income households and particularly for older residents who live on a fixed income. Costs continue to rise, and New Yorkers continue to struggle to pay for basic needs, including rent, food, and utilities. Too many New Yorkers have fallen behind in their utility bills. And as of our 2020 Disrupt Disparities report showed, older people of color entered the pandemic at a huge disadvantage, having to spend a much higher percentage of their income on utilities than white people. The pandemic has only exacerbated this. The good news is about 1.1 million low income New York households could actually get help paying for their utility bills. Every utility company is required by law to offer an energy assistance program to keep consumers' energy burden at or below 6% of their household income. But the bad news is many people do not know that there even is such a thing as a utilities EAP or energy assistance program. The solution is simple. And with us today, we are so happy that we have Senator Parker and Assemblymember Salages who have found the solution. And they've introduced a bill to achieve that solution and help over a million struggling New Yorkers. Bill S 4548 and A 4876 would require the State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance, also known as OTDA, to generate lists of beneficiaries for their administered programs. So we would know who is eligible for these utility companies' affordability programs. And then we could share that data with the utility company. In short, make sure those benefits match, come together, and that money comes back into consumers' pockets and helps their whole household economically. New York City already matches benefits data in this way. The Parker Solage bill would take this practice statewide with all the utilities participating. Ultimately, the state should apply this concept to more benefits programs. And this is really the trailblazer in getting this done. And that's why, again, we really have to thank Senator Parker and Assemblymember Salages. This is such an important first step to connecting people to benefits. So again, thank you, JP, Empire Report, and all of my fellow participants. And let's talk about how we can make this happen before the legislature adjourns this month, or should I say possibly next week. So thank you all.
Well, thank you so much. My name is And I'm a reporter with Fox 5 News here in New York City. Let's just start kick things off. I'm so appreciative of JP Miller for having me be a part of this panel. This is very exciting, and let's just get started here. So let's start with Lori Wheelock, the Executive Director of the Public Utilities Law Project. Let's just start with you. Give us background on why this is so important. Why are so many New Yorkers struggling to pay their utility bills, and is this a new issue?
So thank you so much, Morgan, and thank you all for having me participate. Again, my name is Lori Wheelock. I'm the Executive Director of the Public Utility Law Project. And our organization is very much like legal aid. We actually assist people when they have utility problems. So every single day we get calls from people across the state who are falling behind on their electric and gas bills. They're afraid they're going to have their service turned off, and they're not sure how they're going to be able to pay that large bill. And so we direct them to things like financial assistance and actually help them apply. And what we've noticed is a lot of people who are low income come to us and they're not already enrolled in the electric energy affordability program or the gas energy affordability program. And it's essential, especially for low income households. What it does is if you are already enrolled in a qualifying benefit, from SNAP food benefits to Lifeline phone or the home energy assistance program, you can get into this discount program where every month you get between $20 to $35 off your electric or gas bill. And that's tremendously helpful for people. It alleviates financial stress so they can use those dollars to pay for medicine or co-pays or rent or mortgage. And so we keep trying to spread the word. But whenever we're out there in the community, we definitely see a lot of people are under-enrolled, and our own numbers estimate that about 1 million households are not currently enrolled in the program. So it's concerning.
Exactly. And Senator Kevin Parker, I mean, what are you hearing from constituents in terms of this energy assistance program? Do a lot of people know about it? What are you hearing from your constituents?
Yes, I mean, exactly what you hear Lori talking about is exactly what I'm experiencing in the field, which is that there are people who don't even know that these benefits are available to them. And so we really need to, and obviously it helps New Yorkers, not just constituents, but also all of us, because then the more that people have relief with their utility energy costs, that then frees up their money to do a lot of the necessary things that New Yorkers have to do, like pay their rent and buy food. Right, and even childcare, and so it's really important that we link folks up, to these resources. And obviously, this stuff is these programs are connected to their tax dollars anyway, so they have every right to be plugged into these resources and to make sure that they have the help that's available to them.
Exactly. And Assembly Member Mikhail Salaj, so what prompted you to come forward with this legislation? What are you hearing, and why do you feel like this is such an important issue for your constituents?
Well, thank you, Morgan. We do miss you in Albany, I want to say. And thank you to AARP and Empire Report. We see that there's rising energy costs, inefficient housing structures, and disparities, whether it's, people of color or, older New Yorkers. People are struggling. We have an affordability crisis. And so, we need to make sure that we are helping those who are facing the brunt of these challenges. And so we don't want New Yorkers to make the difficult choice between paying for energy and meeting other needs when we have a simple solution. We can connect them with the resources that government has and is available. And it also makes government more efficient, which I love, efficiency and transparency in government, making sure that we know that with all these cost savings, we can defer the cost to average New Yorkers and save dollars in the end of the day.
Exactly. And now, Beth Finkel, what do you feel like in terms of, eligible New Yorkers, especially, older New Yorkers, where do you feel like they are in terms of this energy assistance program? Is it widely known from, the New Yorkers that you're talking to? And how many people do you feel like are signed up right now?
So absolutely not. People don't know about it. What's interesting, I gave in that 1.1 million figure earlier. That represents households. It's actually 2.6 million people who live in those households. And by the way, there's a very good chance there's an older adult in most of those households. So this could have an important impact because it helps the whole family.
Wow, exactly. Now, Lori Wheelock, when you're speaking with New Yorkers who are eligible for this type of assistance, what do you feel like is one of their top concerns? Is it just not understanding it, how to enroll? What are some of the biggest roadblocks?
Absolutely. So the first thing that we kind of see is people aren't even aware if they're in the program. You get your utility in the bill, mail in the bill. You get your utility bill in the mail. Half the time it takes me about an hour to read it. Let's be honest. There's a lot of words, a lot of numbers, a lot of graphs. So
Same.
what we do is we help them, empower them. This is where you look on your bill. Do you see this credit on a monthly basis? If you don't, we help them enroll. And so I know this will be hard to see, but for instance, this is an example of an application. It doesn't look that bad, right? One page, but there are a lot of different fields. You have to know your account number. You have to provide proof that you receive a qualifying benefit. So you need to be able to find your financial assistance award letter. You may have to upload it. You may have to make a copy of that. And so that can be really difficult. Pulp staff spends a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this possible for people. Sometimes we use the mail, sometimes we overnight things to try to help them. And so it's just not as efficient. What the Assemblywoman said, efficiency, transparency, we could make this such an easier process for people.
Exactly. Now, Senator, break down what's in this bill. Help explain to people what would they get. Just break it down for us.
Yeah. So this bill creates a connection between the utility companies, people, and the agencies in the state that actually administer the programs. And this would allow them to automatically be joined into this program if they qualify. And these qualifying programs include temporary assistance for needy families, safety net assistance. We generally think of as public assistance, supplemental security income, Medicaid, food stamps, low-income home energy assistance program. They would be eligible for Veterans Disability Program, as well as the Veterans Surviving Spouse Pension and Child Health Plus. And so these are all very important means-tested programs. And, and people would be, plugged in automatically, and they would start getting the benefits automatically. And again, the savings that comes along with those benefits.
Exactly, Senator. And why is it so important that it's automatic? I mean, I forget to take my vitamins, I feel like, every day. So why is it important to have something that just automatically does it for you?
Yeah, as you heard, both Lori and Beth indicated, a lot of people don't even know that they're out. They don't even know that programs exist, first of all, let alone sometimes don't know how to access the programs or how to make themselves eligible for the programs. And so if we can do it automatically, we ought to. And again, as you had some of the members, Szilagyi, indicate, it's efficient and it's transparent, and it's important that we plug people into the services that their tax dollars are already paying for.
Exactly. Now, Assembly Member, how much money would the average utility customer receive in the form of direct assistance? And how much money are we talking about overall statewide?
Yeah, well, this is a federally HEAP, and some of these utility programs are federally funded. So this is money that's already coming from us, from the federal government, and it varies according to the needs of the average person. So I don't want to put a number, and I know Pope could probably answer this question better because she's the expert and knows and deals with this. But at the end of the day, it's all about efficiency. I tell people in government, when we have the connections put together, it saves money in the back end, it saves resources, it saves staff allotments, just speaking on the government end. And then also for the point of, the older New Yorker who is also struggling, this saves time, energy. And when we talk about older New Yorkers, we talk about social isolation. Many of them are, living alone or in a dynamic where they are socially isolated. And so providing direct access to resource, to me, is priceless. And so this is really exciting, but I definitely want to kick it off to Lori to give the exact numbers because she's the expert.
Well, thank you, Assemblywoman. And so in our estimates, if every single low-income New Yorker was brought into this program and then received the correct amount of credit that they should be receiving, it would be quite a big price tag. It was looking like $1.75 billion, which is a lot of money to bring every single household into this program. But now is the time, now is the time to have these conversations. Today was the first, public webinar on Cap and Invest and what that's going to look like. And for our state, we're moving forward with electrification and the CLCPA implementation. We can have these conversations. The program is funded right now in ratepayer dollars. The legislature actually dedicated $200 million this year to put into the program to expand it to moderate income, which is really exciting. So again, we have this momentum, and just keeping these conversations going, we're going to find those efficiencies, make this program stronger while also expanding it. We can talk about how to help disadvantaged communities as well. And so, our data is tracking it. We're watching it on a monthly basis, and we're really excited to see where it goes from here on out.
Yes, and there's already a benefits matching program. Kind of explain that a little bit, if you could further, Lori, and just how it's been working here in New York City.
Yeah, so the Human Resources Administration in New York City works with both Con Edison, which supplies a lot of electric and some gas, and National Grid that supplies gas in parts of Brooklyn and Staten Island. But what happens is National Grid and Con Ed sends their residential customer lists to Human Resource Administration. And so they could say, hey, Lori Wheelock is a customer of ours. And what happens is HRA, Human Resources Administration, takes that list and they run it, and they never say, oh, Lori's on SNAP, or Lori's on this benefit, or Lori's on this, but they're able to tell from the programs that they match with if I'm low income. They then kick back that list and people can get enrolled. And so we really love this legislation because it takes that model that we think is a really good gold standard, and it builds off of it. It's going to add a couple of other financial assistance programs that we think will really help capture the whole universe of low-income individuals in New York.
Yes, and Beth, if you could help explain, where is that cutoff for low-income New Yorkers? What's this cutoff line?
I'm actually going to have to refer back to Lori for that. But if I could just add to the conversation that we're just having, right now in a world that is moving so quickly toward wonderful technology opportunities, there are challenges, but for the most part, a lot of opportunities. And right now, what we're doing is we're doing this the old-fashioned way. We're doing this retail instead of wholesale. We sign up people one at a time. We try to reach out to people one at a time. This bill would finally bring it into the 21st century of the way that we could use technology to connect people. We could do it wholesale. And that is the efficiency of it is the most important part. People will directly get the benefit of this, not wait around. And I want to add one more point here. We recently did a lot of research on what the demographics of New York looks like. And 65 plus has increased. The 65 plus population in New York has increased over 31%. And at the same time, the poverty rate of 65 plus has also gone up. And the number of people who are foreign born has also gone up, which means a lot of people do not, maybe English is their second language, or they don't speak English at all. And again, this is an amazing solution for all of those people. So it'd be wonderful to get it done.
Exactly. And Lori, if you want to answer, what is that low income level sort of cutoff there?
Yeah, so in New York State, the definition of low-income utility customer right now follows what the Home Energy Assistance Program guidelines are for eligibility, and it's really low income. It's using 60% state median income, which for an individual, so a family of one person in the household, that's a little over $34,000 a year. Family of two, a little over $44,000 a year, and a family of three, just a little over $55,000 a year. So it is another, topic I think that's worthy of discussion is how in New York we define what's low income and what's moderate income with everything that's going on these days.
Exactly. Now, Assembly member, why do you feel like it's taken so long to get this benefits matching program expanded in New York City? What do you feel like is kind of the roadblock here?
Yeah, I think it's when you always talk about something new or changing the way that government works, it's almost it takes forever, almost like a glacier. Luckily, we realize that not only we are in a silver tsunami, but we are also in a technology wave, and that we have to now get with the program, and we have to now look at ways that we can connect people with resources and intertwine that with government and technology. And so even when we talk about different initiatives like Web3, blockchain, and the senator could speak to broadband and energy, we're now seeing that we could use technology to make people's lives better, and government can do it, and we can do it in a relatively quick pace. And so, today is a new day, and we could start today with it, and hopefully we can get this bill done before June 8th. And if not, shame on us.
Yeah. Now, Senator, what's your kind of take on that? Do you feel like it's got a good shot? What are you hearing from your fellow Senate members?
Yeah, I think we have a really good shot, but it's really up to the people out there, right? We need people to advocate on behalf of this legislation. I know AARP is weighing in and Pulp, but we need as many individuals who are going to see these messages to reach out to their state senators and their state assembly people and let them know that they should be sponsors of this legislation, that they should ask the leadership to bring this legislation to the floor. And then, we're going to have to reach out to the governor and make sure the governor understands the urgency of this legislation as well. We really, people have to understand that the political process is exactly that, a process, and they have a critical role in it, and they have to be active in that process to see the things done that they want done.
Exactly. And Senator, do you feel like there's an avenue for the state to use the same sort of benefits matching automatically to help low income and perhaps moderate income New Yorkers as well?
Yes, I mean, let's be clear, we don't nearly do enough, or as much as we should for moderate and low income New Yorkers. I think that there's more of an emphasis on that now. During the pandemic, we did a kind of nation leading model on a moratorium. We followed that up with some payments of arrears from low and moderate income New Yorkers. I still think there's more that we can do in that area, and this kind of goes alongside of that, of kind of understanding there are a lot of people out there, and many who still haven't recovered from the pandemic. There are a lot of families who lost their primary breadwinner during the pandemic, and obviously that person is no longer there, and families are trying to figure out how they're going to survive. And but the good thing is that they may be eligible for some of these benefits, and if they are, we should be connecting them with them, connecting them with these benefits and these these programs that are designed to help them out. And like I said, this is a great thing, not just for those individual families, but for communities, especially low income communities, in which you're literally going to be bringing millions of dollars into those communities to help small businesses. Because again, when people don't have to spend as much on benefits, then they're able to buy more food, pay their rent on time, and buy other necessary things in their community like healthcare. And so it's going to be important. And I think my colleagues get it. But it's going to be important for my colleagues also to hear from their constituents and from advocacy groups who understand the importance of this legislation.
Exactly. Now, Assembly Member, on the same lines, I know we all have to start somewhere, but is there a way that this bill, eventually maybe could be expanded upon to include more New Yorkers?
I wholeheartedly believe that when this program is implemented, leaders are going to see that this is just a beneficial program, and we're going to be able to expand it. So, definitely, I think, this is just the first step, and this is a great step because we know that the cost of energy, especially electricity, is rising, and we need to respond to the crisis of our time.
Exactly. Now, Beth, what about this bill that excites you so much that you really wanted to highlight about it? What about it that is really driving your passion?
Well, again, it's that passion for we're in the era of technology. How are we back in the 19th century, still signing people up, writing it out? And this bill points the way, as both the senator and the assembly member just said, to expand this. And I'll give you a very good example of that. Last year, again, thanks to the efforts of the senator and the assemblywoman, we actually increased the level of Medicare Savings Program eligibility from 135% to 186%. That means that 65 plus people who are on Medicare, we opened the doors to 300,000 more New Yorkers who are now going to be eligible for that benefit. And those people can get $167 a month back in their Social Security check. But guess what? They don't know about it. If we could take the roles of people getting these other benefits, as we spoke before, and the assemblywoman pointed out, the data is there. All we have to do is compare it and then connect those 300,000 people back. Now, what would that do to a household's income? Another $160 a month back for them to buy groceries, especially at a time when we know that SNAP has been reduced back to pre-COVID levels, and older adults who are getting the minimum amount are only getting $25 or $26 a month in SNAP benefits and food stamps. This could offset that and really help them put more food on the table. And by the way, many of them live multi-generationally. So we're helping everyone. And I particularly love the senator's comment about the economic stimulus to local businesses and communities. We're talking about over $4 billion a year that could come back in as economic stimulus if we really leveraged all this technology and connected people to the money that they really need. And that we, as taxpayers, we as citizens, this is what we want. We want to help our fellow citizens, our fellow neighbors.
Wow. So this matching, this benefits matching for SNAP, it would help people who, it would use kind of the same formula. People who would be eligible would be automatically enrolled, correct?
Well, that's the part that has to be worked out in future legislation. This is that first major step forward. And I have to say it again, major step forward. And I think that New York State will be looked at as a shining light on how to get this work done, thanks to the senator and the assembly member.
Assembly member, do you feel like anything like that would be possible in the next year or two? I mean, in terms of SNAP, I could imagine a lot of pushback maybe from some people who say, well, what if too many people get automatically enrolled?
Well, that's, then that's a policy failure on us. So, I tell people, we have to first get the data. We're moving into the world where technology is now the key. We're moving into Web3 from Web2, and people are trying to capitalize off of data. And so to me, it's, making sure that we have an accounting of what's going on in our state. If that many people are going out and looking for resources, then we have a major problem, and we have to respond. So, I tell that person, look, let's get into reality. Let's help people. That's what we're here to do.
Exactly. And what about you, Senator? Do you feel like this is just kind of the beginning as well to maybe a much wider program for benefits all over the state?
Yeah, and I agree with the assembly member. Look, these are tax dollars, right? And these dollars are already available and been paid. You should want these tax dollars to come back into the state. Most of these dollars are federal dollars. And you should want it to come back in the state, and it's a benefit not just to the individuals, but to their families and to the communities in which they live. And so this is, and a better, we're only as strong as our weakest community, and those communities are only as strong as the weakest person who lives in them. And so we really are looking at an approach that takes resources that are already available and make sure that they're being used. If they're not utilized, right, we don't match people up with these programs, those dollars just go fallow, and we have people who can use them who are not getting the benefit that they are not both entitled to and eligible for, but really should have in order to help themselves, their families, and their communities.
Exactly. Now, a little bit on that money that's being left on the table, Lori, if you could just help explain, how much money is being left on the table that could help New Yorkers through these various programs?
Yeah, through the energy affordability program, again, we feel that it's about under-enrolled by a half. We have over 1 million households in it now, but we think there's over 1 million that need to go into the program. So it's almost a 50-50 split. And again, if every person we can find, get them enrolled into the program, and then make sure they're getting the right amount of credits, and that's really key too. every person in New York State is not supposed to be spending more than 6% of their income on their energy. And so that's kind of the goal here, is getting them to hit that point so that we can meet that goal and help them. And it's a price tag. It's about $1.75 billion, but it's a big investment and one that we need to do to get to our energy future as well. So affordability, reliability, energy future, we think there's a pathway, and this is the big step forward.
Wow. I'm sure the senator and assembly member could give me a laundry list on what they would hope to do with that $1.7 billion. But in other ways, I mean, how would you see that? Where would you see that money going, Lori?
So, I mean, that is all money that is going to help people stay healthy and safe in their homes, and it relieves that pressure. So again, they can use it to pay for all the other expenses they need to be able to be happy and healthy in that home.
Perfect. And assembly member, just anything else about this bill that you wanted to push forward? I mean, we only have a couple more days left of session. You guys have so many things to do going on in these last days, but what do you feel like, what sort of message would you hope that your fellow assembly members remember about this bill and about the people that you're representing that could benefit from this?
Yeah, I definitely want to uplift what the senator said. Now is the time to really reach out to your representatives. So people out there in cyberspace, call your state legislators, both your assembly member, senator, and ensure that they're supporting this important legislation. It's a simple call, an email. If you want to go to the office and knock on the door, whatever means necessary. Really, we have to get it done this session. We cannot wait. And so, like the senator said, reach out to your representatives, talk to them, and let's get this done this year.
And Senator, what about you?
Again, the same. So, it's just important that people understand the governmental process as an actual process, and that there are a critical part of that process, and to be linked into it, to keep themselves informed, and to let their representatives know what they expect of them. And bills like this are really important for them to hear from people. But obviously, myself and Assemblymember Szilagyi will be working the halls and working our colleagues as well in our leadership to make sure they understand the critical nature of this legislation, and doing what we need to do in order to pull it across the finish line.
Exactly. And Bethany, any parting words you remember about this bill and just about the importance of getting this across the finish line this year?
Well, you know what? You heard the numbers, right? 1.1 million households could be helped. 2.6 million people could be helped. And on top of that, it'll be clearing a path, developing a path forward for us to really connect people to benefits the way they should be connected. And I don't know, maybe it was the Assemblywoman who said it, let's not leave money lying on the table. That doesn't help anybody. And I think the senator said it too. A lot of this is federal dollars. Why would we leave it on the table? It doesn't make any sense at all. And it's such a simple process. We just have to have the willingness of everyone to move forward and get it done. And I can't thank the senator and the assembly member enough for everything that they have done already. And I know that they are continuing to really work this till session ends. And I have faith. I have faith in us to move the grassroots, and I have faith in you all to move it through the halls. So thank you all. And thank you, Lori. Great advocate.
Yes, exactly. And Lori, you've been our numbers person here during this panel. Any final numbers you want to impart on people and just on the significance and importance of getting this done this year?
I feel like I have been able to say it, but just wanted to end by thanking again the assembly member and the senator. This will be huge for millions of New Yorkers, and we just got to get it done. So we support you all, and we thank you, and thanks for watching.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for listening and participating. This has been a wonderful conversation. And please keep us updated, Senator and Assembly Member, on your guys' last few days of session on how this is all going. So thank you so much again. And this has been a pleasure to be a part of this.
Thank you so much, Morgan.
Wow, that was great. Thank you so much, Morgan McKay, for moderating. Thank you to the elected officials and panelists for participating, and especially thank you to AARP New York for sponsoring this important forum. For more information, please check out aarp.org and of course, EmpireReportNewYork.com. Thank you again.